Subaru Outback. Let's do a brake job. Alright, so obviously the first thing we do is take the wheel off. We got the wheel off and we got a jack up under there. And we got to take these little plastic covers off to get into the little torque bits that actually hold this caliper on. So there's two of them. So there's one right here. And there's one up on the top right there that I've already gotten. Now we got to get a Torx bit and put in here, and I gotta see which size that is. I don't remember. Alright, so we're gonna use this guy here, this Allen. This is a 7. So we gotta stick that in here like that, and that'll get us a nice grip on the top here to get this back one off. There we go. I almost tried to tighten it there. Must be late. And let's see if we can get the bottom one down here. See how easy it is. That's why I like those covers. That's why you should always leave them on, because you never know just how much dust can get in there. I will take them off here. Alright, so there's one. Alright, finagle this out of here. Alright, so those are pretty much out. We'll take these out and put them in the tray so we don't lose them. Now we should be able to go ahead and slide our caliper off here. But first thing we got to do really is go ahead and get these little bracket, this little clip off right here. You can see it if you get to turn the camera for you. There's one, and there's the other one. Kind of goes in there like that. And now I'll back the camera up a little bit so you can see. Now it should come off fairly easy. Now there's probably a little bit of pressure on these brakes still because I have to reset them, push them back out of their little happy place. But there we go. Coming out, there we go. And you just got to work it a little bit. There we go. And we're just about out there. Alright, so those are pretty loose right there. That's where we're going to stop. We're going to hook this little wire on the bottom here for the electric brake system. We've got to unhook this little connector right here that goes to the e-brake. And there's a little clip on the back right here. You got to push in. Actually push out on like that, and it releases this. So don't forget this. Now we'll just kind of push this off the side. And now we can go ahead and back this off. And we'll leave this off to the side for now. We have to reset this. I'll show you how to do this if you don't have a scan tool. And there's basically the brakes. And unfortunately the back ones, well, they didn't quite make it. So, and there's the front one. It's not terribly bad, but the rotor on the other side is probably not that great. Alright, so we're going to reset this. What we got to do is take these two little screws out. They're Allen, and this is a 5. We get those out. We're going to take this motor off real quick here and reset these. There's that. Try to hold it with one hand and do it with the other. And same here. Alright, so leave that like that. Alright, so there is that screw. Put these off to the side. There's our motor. And now we can kind of wiggle it back and forth until it pops off a little bit. There we go. We'll clean this up a little bit. This is pretty dirty. So we'll clean that up. And we'll take a socket here. We'll put on that. And I'll probably have to find my E sockets real quick. Alright, so we got a 9mm socket on this, and what we're going to do is turn this all the way back in. Actually, I need to go the other way. Counterclockwise, not clockwise. Duh. And as you can see, that's going down. There we go. Till it stops. You don't have to crank on it or anything. And that's all the way back in. We'll clean that off in a second. And we'll push our caliper in here with our tool, with our little C-clamp right here. Get this set up. So it's getting kind of dark out here, so hopefully, oops, you can kind of make out what I'm doing. You set this C-clamp up, and 2 times. Actually, you could just use the C-clamp. Push this in. It was going in, then it stopped. I thought, why is it not going in? Well, you just go ahead and push it the rest of the way in like this. It turns real easy. And there we are. We're at the bottom all the way. So now we'll take this off. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and clean this up. Put the motor back on here before it gets too late. And then this side will be just about done. We're going to have to get a rotor tomorrow, the next day. I have to put this together so they can drive it. But in the meantime, you know, we'll have brake on this side at work. Alright, so that side's done. Let's go ahead and tighten this side down a little bit. Just snug it, nothing serious. And we're ready to put this back on. So let me go ahead and get these brakes on, and we'll wrap this side up and all that. Alright, so look at that. Brand new brakes on this side. Looks pretty good. Well, it's getting dark out here. I'm not going to get this whole thing finished tonight, but we'll finish this one up here for now. I got to put my caliper on there, and we got our little shiny bracket clips thingies we got to put on here, whatever you want to call them. And we'll be done, so let's get those on. Okay, it's the next day. We ordered a rotor. It's coming, and the only thing you have to do at this point is take this here off. These are 15 bolts on the back of this caliper bracket. That's all one piece. That's got to come off. So let me hit this a couple times and maybe put a couple little screws in here and twist it. Maybe pop it off that way. Okay, after hitting it just a couple of times, it broke free. So I think we're okay. Yikes. Well, I didn't have to take that nut off because check this out. This was so much rust on there I couldn't tell. I thought this is all one piece, but no. So you don't have to take the nut off, so you just gotta hit this until it decides to come off. So hey, live and learn. Alright, so it's off, and here's the back of the rotor. Yeah, this is why we had to change it out. So a lot of times you can get fooled. You can almost think the rotor and this hub is one piece because it's so close together and rust in here. So got the nut back on there and staked and all that. So now get the rotor. Alright, while I'm waiting on this rotor, I went on ahead and reset this, and like I said, you got these little screws here. You pop this off, turn this thing clockwise, and put it back together, and squish your piston back in, and you're all set. So I've done all this. Let's just go to the other side real quick while we're waiting on our rotor here. Alright, so let's walk around on the driver's side, and one thing I wanted to show you is I've just about had this off here. And it's ready to come off, but the problem is you can only go so far with it. Well, it turns out you have this hose here, brake hose, that you have to take this bolt out right here, because this is actually catching it here. It's not giving you enough slack to be able to pull this off, so this is really tight. So I've got this loose here, so let's see if we can get this off here. It's a 10mm. Get this out of the way, then I'll pull this up. Now I should be able to make you guys dizzy. Get this off now. Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay, the brake fell off. Good thing we're changing these. They're down to the nitty gritty. But anyway, there's that, and we're going to do the same thing here as we did on the other side. We'll have to reset this and all that, but this side, this rotor's good. We're just going to be putting brakes on this side. We're checking back. No issues. Nice and smooth. We'll clean all this up, but I just wanted to show you that this hose here, make sure you take this nut off first, because you start pulling on this, there's a good chance you can break this or even tear it, but you never know. Disconnect it from the bottom of this motor. Get yourself an angle pick like this, and once you get that pick on there, you can get that up under that clip and pull this off, because on this there's really no room for a screwdriver. If you get something like a pick under there, you can actually lift up on this right here, this little clip that releases this right there. See that? Right there. So that way then you can pull this out and reset it. So yeah, just use a little pick. Don't try to use a screwdriver, because really, by the time you put a screwdriver up here and try to pull this back, you're probably going to break this. So you don't want to break this, because this has to be on there, because this rear axle is going when you're driving up and down hitting bumps, and this could come apart and slide out and all that. So everything else looks okay. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Alright, so the rear driver's side is done. I got some graphite grease on there to kind of help the brakes to slide in the little grooves. Motor's on. The clip is on in the back there. That clip is in the back, so if you ever need to take that off, it's kind of, you have to like almost lay up under the car from the back to get that, but that's on. And also we put our nut back on here, our bolt, and that's tight. Oop, that's tight, and we're all good. So this side's done. Even got our new little shiny clip on there to keep them from rattling. So we'll put the wheel on, and now we'll go to the other side. Alright, so the front ones, 15mm bolts, 2 of them. This one came off pretty easy. Although the brakes I don't think are too bad. I need to put this somewhere for now. And let's see, what do we got for brakes here? I wonder how bad they are. Probably not too bad. This time to be changed. Try to get these out of here a little bit. Yeah, so these got the squealers on them, so they're okay. About 60% left, maybe half that. The back ones are always the ones that are, they get all the wear. That's because after a while you get rust up here on these, and in here where they slide on the caliper pins, not the pins but the brackets, they start to not move anymore, and they kind of stick a little longer to the back of the rotor, and they start to wear a little bit more. But yeah, might as well just do these too. So pretty simple there. All I gotta do is clean this up. Let me check the back side of this rotor. Feels pretty good. Outside looks pretty good. So we got off fairly cheap on the front, so all I gotta do is push this caliper back in its bore. We'll put these in. Alright, if you're like me, you don't have any caliper tools, you know, you can buy a pair that, you know, you can push both these pistons back in at the same time. I don't. I should have one. You'd think I'd have one by now, but I just use the old brake pads and turn it around and turn it in like that. Now you got to watch inside where you put your brake fluid in. You have to check the reservoir, make sure it's not leaking up there. So if you see leaking, it's normal. It's just all this fluid's getting pushed back in, and you may have filled it up when these pads were worn down, so you're going to have excess fluid eventually coming out. So just be aware of that. I've already checked and we're good so far. And there we go. Our pads are all the way back. Our not pads, our cylinders, calipers are all the way in back. Yep, looks good. And I could probably just verify. Let's go ahead and do one at a time. Just make sure they're all the way back. Yep, she's all the way back. Hey, let me know where you're watching from right now. Alright, so let's get this one here, make sure it's in. I'm pretty sure it is. I think you can kind of see that there. Yep, we're back. So all we gotta do now is clean this caliper up. Clean up a little bit around that brake bracket. Alright, so I got all that on there, and I tell you what, it took a while to figure out how to get these little squealers. When these things sit in here like this, and you push this pad in there, it's supposed to ride up in there, and you would think it would catch on that groove and lock up, but what happens, you see how this is bent right here? This continues to slide until the pad wears down more and more, then eventually it squeals, it starts to squeal on this right here. So yeah, it's kind of, it took me a while to figure out why it was catching, but it's actually designed that way. So as it goes in, it goes like that. Now if it was the other way, it definitely would catch, but when you put this in, it slides over that. So I've got the big one. Let's see, how do I have this? The small one is, let's see, the big one is on the bottom with the longer tangs like this, and I got the smaller one up on top. So I can, well, these are the same. Actually, they're the same. Okay. Yep, they're the same. Okay, I thought they were different, but same thing. So, all right, so this side's done. I'm gonna get the other side done. Anyway, this is done. It's on, and you can see the squealer right there. I got that in there the way it's supposed to be. Same thing on the back, and you gotta kind of play around with these things, because really the paperwork they gave me with these brakes doesn't say anything about which one of these go where, which is on top. So I just made sure the top one's got the little cutout right there. I want to make sure it's on top on both sides, because if you look closely on these, there are two different part numbers. So I'm not sure why they look the same, but nevertheless I'll research them more. But anyway, they're on there for now, so let's go do the other side. Alright, so this is one of the older clips I took out. I got the new ones in there already, and I didn't want to take them back out just to show you what I was talking about. But what I was saying earlier, that this goes in here, and this is the squealer. Actually, this is the squealer. I kind of missed this piece here that kind of bends off of this. This actually grips this here when it goes in so far into this clip. There's little holes there, so it doesn't let the pad rattle. So as it goes in, it kind of grips another little gripper, little place there. You can see that. That's all that is. That's just to keep the pad firm from rocking back and forth. But actually, there's the squealer right there. So just wanted to correct myself. I went through the Subaru book and I read through this, and this is what this actually is for. So yeah, you got to get that in there. If you can get this in there, like I have on my pad here, this will keep the pad in there and keep it from backing out and rattling and all that. That's all that's for. Alright, so the front driver's side is on. Boy, what a pain. But, you know, with all the shims and stuff, it keeps things from making noise, but it's on. I can turn this. I made sure these were straight, because if you bend these a little bit, they will hit this rotor and you'll get a different type of squealing noises right after you did your brakes, and you'll be disappointed. So make sure these are straight in there and they're not bent. Just take your time at it. I wanted to show you the front has these little guides that you put in here for these brakes. Well, the rear ones don't. And on the rear here, if you look closely, I wanted to show you where the squealer is. There's nothing on the outside, but on the inside one, there's a little squealer here. So these are actually set up different from the front. The front's sort of a two-piece deal. The back is just a one-piece. On the one side, of course, the squealer is on the inside. The pad on the inside here, which gets all the wear. So, and this here goes on the inside. The caliper, this stays, the caliper goes down over that. It keeps pressure on this little clip, just so you know. Some guys try to put that on the outside of this hole here, and it doesn't work. So just so you know, now let's put this rotor on. So, goodbye to rotor. And here's our new one. Ta-da! Dirty gloves all over, but we'll clean it with some brake clean. But anyway, we got it. Yay! Alright, and just like that, the old Outback is done. If you like these videos or my video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe and all that good stuff. Until my next video, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.